So very soon on Global Dokkan, we are going to be getting the EZA PEPPY Gal event like we normally do during this time of year. And as usual, the category weakness for this EZA event is PEPPY Gals. So I figured we could do a team guide going over what units you should bring for this EZA event. Now, everybody should be doing this. Obviously, free 30 stones. Actually, you get a little bit more than 30 stones, I guess, if you include the missions. And, you get some Elder Kais from it, you get some Zenny from it, some Hidden Potential Orbs, and then obviously the medals to EZA, both of the units. Now, they're not really that great, if I'm being honest. The Oceanus could have been a lot better, especially considering she is a GT Bosses unit, but she does kind of suck. And then Launches, pretty good, but she's not that crazy. I don't have them pulled up, but that's basically the whole thing to summarize their kit. Launches, kind of good, and Oceanus just kind of sucks. But anyway, to get into what units you should bring, so the PEPPY Gals category is pretty good. It's not insane, but a couple units do carry it. Obviously, you got stuff like BULMA, who you already know we're going to be talking about. You've got the Dokkan Fest Kale. You got the EZA Kale and Caulifla. There is the LR Ribrian, but obviously we don't have access to her on Global yet, so we won't be talking about her. But if you have some of these specific units, this should be pretty easy for most players. First off, we do have Videl. You can see right here, she is the main lead for this category. So if you do have her, running her as a lead would be the smartest option. I mean, she's not bad. She's not really great, though. Like, in an EZA event, she should be fine, but she's not insane as a unit. She's greatly stacking attack, so I guess that'll be pretty useful. Well, actually, no, you're not going to get that in this event, because you have to be running a Gohan with her. So she's just going to be normally stacking attack, but she still gets the defense on super. She gets that high chance to dodge, I think, in slot 1. Or, yeah, after you receive an attack. So, in slot 1, basically, she gets the high chance to dodge. She does have some built-in additionals. And her damage can look pretty impressive. She'll be good for the EZA event, but nothing insane. Well, she's the best lead, so I guess that's the main reason you're bringing her. But even if you just have her, throwing her on the team could be pretty useful because one of the phases is physical. Or the first, I guess, 15 stages is going to be physical. So then she will have type advantage, and then obviously she'll be able to put in some work during the first 15 stages. And then next up, we do have the AGL Dokkan Fest Kale. So the next couple units we're going to be talking about are all units that could be good sub-teams. So they don't outright lead PEPPY Gals, because you can see, I mean, this is the only other unit that leads PEPPY Gals. I don't even have her pulled up. I guess we can talk about her a little bit later. So yeah, there is the Dokkan Fest Kale. You could run a pretty good sub-team with her. She leads Universe 6, and then also Transformation Boost, which a good amount of units on this category are on Universe 6 or Transformation Boost, so you should be good with that. I mean, she's a good unit. She's restricted to Universe 6 category allies, which makes her a little wonky, but in an EZA event, stuff like, this guaranteed additional you get right here, or I guess it's a great chance to do an additional, and then the extra 160% attack and defense. You don't need this in an EZA event, so even if you don't have another Universe 6 category ally, which most of the time you will, but let's just say for argument's sake you don't have another one, and you just run a full transformation boost team, you should still be able to cook with her in this event, because, again, it's an EZA event, not really that difficult. And then if you get the transformation off with her into Super Saiyan 2, she's going to look really crazy. I mean, she gets the guard. She gets, obviously, all the stats as well. She's getting attack and defense on super, and she's doing a lot of supers in the same turn. And then she has the medium chance to crit on her super attack effect. So she's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and she's just a pretty good unit that you should consider bringing on the team, even if you just have her just to throw her as, like, a slot 3 option or something like that. And then next up, we do have the Tech Kale and Caulifla. So I was surprised these girls didn't get their EZA on JP. Even if they did, it wouldn't have affected this at all because it wouldn't be out on Global yet. But I was really expecting to see them get their EZA for part 2 of the Dokkan Fest Android celebration on JP. But no, looks like they're not going to be EZAing yet. I mean, they're good. They're a stacking unit, and they get extra stats when there's a Universe Survival Saga category enemy. Obviously, there's not going to be that in this event, but I mean, they're still pretty useful. If you get the fusion off, they can be really good. Kefla has that high chance to dodge. She gets all the attack and defense if you get, a certain amount of key spheres. So she can look good. Again, it's an EZA event. It's not that difficult. So even a unit like this who's kind of mid is still going to be very good in this event. And speaking of like sub-teams to bring, you definitely could run a sub-team with them because they lead Bond of Friendship, and a lot of the units on here are on Bond of Friendship. So they should be pretty good for this event, either as a lead or just as a unit you're going to want to throw on the team. And then next up, we do have LR BULMA. I mean, you guys knew I was going to talk about her. A lot of people probably have her now, because of course she did just return for yellow coins on the LR Goku banner. And then also during Worldwide Download Celebration, she was featured on one of the Carnival banners. I forget which one she was featured on, but one of the banners she was featured on. So a lot of people probably do have her. And if you have her, you got to run her on the team. Like, there's no way you're not running her on the team. You could probably run her as a lead, I guess. You'd have to have some of these very specific units because she leads Dragon Ball Saga and Dragon Ball Seekers. I mean, I guess you could bring, like, I don't know, there's a free-to-play Bulma. You could bring her. You could bring a Chilai, actually. Chilai would be pretty good. But those are the only units I know that are on... Well, there's Launch. I mean, yeah, I guess you could bring Launch. Of course, she's EZAing. And then a couple of the Chi-Chis. So, if you have these specific units, technically you could run her as a lead. But most of you probably aren't going to have, you know, this random STR Chi-Chi. Or even some of you probably won't have the physical Launch. Because, I mean, let's be honest, no one's summoning on these Peppy Gal banners. So, I think Bulma just as a unit to throw on the team would be pretty useful, but maybe not as a lead. You know, she has her support. She's orb changing. Well, I don't know why I'm explaining why Bulma's good. All of you guys know, Bulma's insane. So definitely bring her if you have her. And then next up, we do have the STR Android 18. So she is going to be one of the new units on the Peppy Gal banner. I think she gets a 50% chance to dodge in total. Let me just read this really quick. I know she has the medium chance to dodge right here. And then she gets another 18% chance to dodge when there are 4 or more Peppy Gals category allies on the team. So, no, that's only a 48% chance to dodge in total. Very specific. Why not just make it a 50% chance? Okay, whatever. I guess they got to include, you know, the 18 number because, oh, look, it's Android 18. But anyway, yeah, she's going to be pretty good on here. Obviously, you're running a full Peppy Gals category team. So, this restriction isn't really going to be that difficult to get. And, you know, she's a good unit. She's, you know, a dodging unit. So, as long as she's getting her dodge off, she'll be able to look pretty impressive defensively. And then also, in terms of, like, her damage, it should be good. She's getting 50% attacking defense on Super. She's getting a lot of its stats on Super as well. So, she should be able to do some solid damage. But, I mean, she's not, like, insane. That's what I'm saying. A lot of the units on this category aren't really insane. Most of them are kind of mid. I'd say the only real good units is, like, Bulma, I guess Dokkan Fest Kale, and then LR Kale and Caulifla. And other than that, they all kind of suck, right? I mean, because all of them have just aged. I mean, none of them are necessarily good. And then even the new 18, and then... I don't even know her name. This girl right here. The new Peppy Gal units on the new Peppy Gal banner, they're not really that crazy. So, unfortunately, not a lot of good units on this category. But as I've said multiple times, EZA events aren't that difficult. So, as long as you have a solid team with kind of mid to solid units, you should be able to cook in here. But then after the 18, we do have the Int Ribrianne. So this is the one that I literally just pulled up. She can be good if you want to run her as a lead. 150% the stats, definitely pretty impressive. But if you do have the Videl, I probably recommend running her as a lead instead because, you know, she's 4 key, 170% the stats, while the Ribrianne is only 3 key and then 150% the stats. But she's still going to be pretty impressive. She gets her transformation turn 1, so you're always going to be in this state of the Ribrianne. She is a support, so I guess that's pretty useful. She supports literally Peppy Gals, so everybody on the team is going to get the support. She does have an attack and defense debuff. Does not matter whatsoever. I mean, for the first couple turns, you might get this, but you're one-shotting the enemy in the first couple turns, even if you don't have this debuff. So it's not that big of a deal, but as a unit, you know, she can be pretty impressive. I mean, all of these units I'm talking about, none of them are really bad. Like, all of them are going to be good for this event. So if you don't have, you know, Tech Kale and Caulifla, it really doesn't matter. You could just replace them with, like, you know, this STR Android 18. Or if you don't have the 18 because you didn't summon on the new Peppy Gal banner, which most of you probably shouldn't be summoning on the banner, you could just bring another random unit that's semi-decent and you should be fine. Next, we do have Physical Fascia. She's pretty good. She has guard for the first couple turns and then she does build up. So she'll be impressive in here. And also she does have type advantage during the final 15 stages. So keep that in mind. And then after the Fascia, we got the Int Chilai. Int Chilai's main thing is she's just going to be supporting. She does literally no damage whatsoever. Her only value is that she's orb changing and she's a support. But her support is to all allies. So she's supporting literally everyone on the team. And then with the orb changing as well, she'll be able to make the team look a lot better. So I guess that pretty much has been the video. Like I've said multiple times, this category is very wonky, but EZA events aren't hard. So as long as you bring a couple of these good units, you should be fine. There's definitely a good amount of units I didn't talk about either, like Tech Caulifla. You got the STR Kale right here. You've got the new Peppy Gals unit. I don't even know her name. I feel like I should. Mamba. Okay. Well, it's a very interesting name. If you have her, I mean, yeah, you could bring her on the team. She'll definitely be pretty impressive. Damn, look at that. She's only on 3 categories. Why wasn't she on GT Bosses? I feel like she probably should have been. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so a lot of other units I didn't talk about, but, I mean, you could probably bring them in this event, and you should be fine. So, I guess that pretty much has been the video. Let me know if this EZA event is going to be difficult for you guys, and let me know what units you are bringing on your Peppy Gals team. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one.